So, without further ado, let us start our tutorial on loops in Fighter Maker 2002. So, we touched about loops earlier this morning by using this go-to skill. This is the most basic loop as get in game engine. So we used it in our jumping animations to loop the final frame jump so they can land. That's the double jump. As you can see, that last part when they're falling loops infinitely. I can change the time to 5 frames and it will loop properly. But there are other ways to make a loop, and you'd probably ask yourself, why would you want to loop something any other way? Sometimes you want to have a limited loop. So a limited loop is a loop that will end when a certain condition is met. I don't know the programming lingo for it, but basically something will loop, and in this case the jump will loop, and the limit is when they land end. So there are other ways besides the text skill. Sometimes you don't want that. Sometimes you want it to loop a certain amount of frames and then you want it to end. Now you could just say, well, have the animation run a certain amount of frames. Yeah, there's that way too, but again, we're here to figure out loops. So let's get started. I want to do an attack that will play an animation of 3 punches, so we'll use this punch 3 times and then stop. So we will use this as our we'll just make this our wrong attack, we'll say. So we can easily just copy and paste this animation 3 times. Let's not do that. Let's make a loop where it will play 3 times and then it will. So we will go script movement, go to skill, and then attack. So now we will go into a condition fork and use a variable. And we will use character variable. Let's just go with B. You can use a task variable, but I like character variables. And since this is a skeleton character, I don't care too much for the variables, even though I constantly say these are more important. But regardless. So the first thing is that we want it to detect the condition. Is it the same? And I said we want it 3 times. So we'll say 3. Next one we'll do is condition fork, variable, and we will do add 1 to character variable B. So basically what happens is it will read, is it the same as, is the value of character variable B 3? The answer is no. It will move ahead as usual. This variable adds 1 to it, and then it will play the rest as usual. Once it loops 3 times, it will lock out. Actually, because we want this to always do 3 times and lock the animation, we're going to add a 3rd variable at the very start, which will reset everything. Character variable B replaced to 0. Ooh, no. There's something wrong with my loop. I'm going to break the loop, and we're going to put it right here in the 2nd variable. There you go. Now our variable is. So now it will say, this will reset everything to 0. That way, when the character does this attack again, the variable counter is set to 0. Then it will have the condition, is the value 3? If not, it will move on. And then it will add 1. And it will loop and keep adding 1 until it reaches 3, in which case we can end it. So how are we going to end this? Well, two ways we can end this. We can just do a fail frame and have it end at 1 frame, or we'll have it end with the sidekick that we animated. That sounds like a good idea. So we're gonna hit save and hit the animation. So as you can see, 1, 2, 3, and he kicks. 2, 3, and he kicks. 1, 2, 3, and he kicks. So now we've effectively made a loop, and we can change this to whatever we want. So if we say 5 hits, all we gotta do is change this to 5. 2, 3, 4, 5, and he kicks. Now, this is much more efficient than copy and pasting. So let's say we want to make this 15 hits. He will do this 15 times, and then he will do his kick. So by making your code loop with a variable like this, you will be able to just change one thing and it will change the rest as well. Now, while I'm here, I'm going to add something else to this sidekick to make sure to break the loop, because there was another thing that that I didn't like. That addition fork hit fill. Oh no, it should be 16. Alright, so what I've done there is I've added 2 detect skills which will break the loop of the flying sidekick, that if he hits the opponent, he will no longer hit them and continuously hit them. And if the opponent blocks it, he will also have the same reaction of jumping off against the wall. So, let's do a quick command. We'll call it stack. Okay. We'll do stack. Stack. Saw that I used E. Alrighty then. So now here. There's our weak attack, which is just single punch. Counter attack that we did earlier. And our strong attack, 3 punches and a kick. So what happens if they're blocked? Nothing special. Counter attack. Corner pressure nerf confirmed. Welcome back. So, continuing on, actually, oh, nope, lost my train of thought. Okay, I remember now. So, that's how we make a loop with using the SG function. Now, we can go a step further, and we can use a variable itself to loop opposed to a go-to skill. Now, this isn't advisable. However, it does if it works out, then you can go for this method as well. So let's copy and paste. I don't know why that didn't work. Oh, because I need to rename it, that's why. 2. All right. So we're going to delete that. And now we're going to go to script move our condition fork variable. Now this variable will act the same exact way as this SG. So in order to do that, we're going to go character variable B. Where is it? Find it. There you go. Character variable B. And in order for it to loop back here, we want it to go, is it below 3. So if it's below 3, it will go here. Once it's equal to 3, we can... Actually, this guy is going to move. So this guy moves to the end. So now that what's going to happen is we have the variable to start to reinitialize the thing. It's going to be 0. We add 1. This will play out, and then it hits the variable. Is it below 3? The answer is yes. So it will send it back to start. Now it's at 2. It will play again. Is it 3? It's still below 3. So I'll go back, play again. Now, we're at 3. It's still technically not there. So it will go again for a third time. And then finally it's above. So now this condition is broken, and it'll go to here. And now it's the same, and it will go to our weak stand combo. If I'm thinking about that correctly. Pardon me, I am tired. Alright, let's check the animation. Yep. 3 punches, and then flying sidekick. So, works completely the same, even though I used a variable instead. So, just to confirm, we're going to go into here and replace strong attack with strong attack 2. And there you go. Using variable system. What happens if I do this in a quarter? Yeah, funny. Kill combos. Oh, right. Well done. So, now that we have our loops in place, let's look into other ways of breaking said loop. Now, you want to break a loop so you don't have possibilities of infinites or game-breaking bugs. So, like this flying sidekick that I designed, it is, pardon me, it is a loop, and I put all these detect skills in front of it to prevent it from being an infinite loop. Otherwise, he will just keep flying to whatever direction forever, which is not what we want. So, let's say we want this to loop infinitely, but we need a command to stop it. So now we will go here. We'll do SG wrong, or SG back 2 or 3. God, I'm awake, I swear. Now we're going to remove the variable system that we made, because now we want this to loop infinitely. So that's all we need. Oh, I'm on the wrong skill. Why is it going? Oh, because it's looping in the wrong skill. There we go. Always look where your loops are ending. Alright, so now we have this attack where, believe me, it's looping by itself infinitely. So now we're going to go to commands, change this into strong attack 3, go into our game, and I am not pressing any buttons. He is forever doing that, and there is no way to cancel it. The only way to cancel it would be to... Where's the... There we go, to hit him. So, let's say we want that to be infinite, but we want to cancel it at some point. So, we can put in condition fork detect condition. Let's say the player has to press down, and if it's canceled, they go back to the neutral state. So let's make it crouching. So now we have our infinite attack, and if I press down, it now ends it, and it breaks the loop. So, how is this useful? Well, you can make attacks that are transformations, we can say. So, I have a character in my fighting game where he uses two guns, and it's still a melee fighting game. He doesn't use the guns willy-nilly. He still will hit, like, pistol whip you and everything. Now, he has a stance where he draws both of his guns and points it to the opponent. And he can move back and forth while shooting the opponent. It's literally called moving shot. So that's a loop. And oh, you know what? I think demonstration is in order. Let's save. Let's open my game. And let us take a look at what I'm actually talking about. Game. Alrighty then. I don't remember the command, so let me just look it up real quick. Move down, back, B. Where is he? Is. Okay. So, I'm going to try my best to... Oh. Okay. I'm going to try my best to remember how I actually did this, but this is all done through loops and variables.
Ready and waiting.
Oh, there's the button.
Showtime.
So this is a loop. Okay, and it has a timer.
Showtime.
And between each frame and each shot,
Showtime.
he's allowed to shoot one bullet up to 5 times. So that would be the point of using a loop with a variable. So that way you can do creative stuff like that. That's just an application. And in order for me to do that, I had to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different code lines for that to work, with many variables, many command lines, and many images, and many movements, and many defense frames to actually make that work. But with enough time and perseverance, you can do anything in this engine. At least that's what I believe. Well, almost anything. Alright, back to our tutorial. Dust. Oh. Back to this. Alright, Stickman. Good old Stickman. Now, there are other ways we can cancel a loop. For very specific actions, more of a stance entry. Yeah. That's actually what I meant to say. My bad. Yeah, that is a stance character, not a transformation. So, I guess I kind of equated it to Gen from Street Fighter, where he's a transformation character, but in actuality, you're changing stances. So, sort of the same concept, but no, you're right. It's a stance more than a transformation. Anyway, so there are other things we can do to cancel a loop. But instead of like trying to clutter up our code line, we can do something called a call skill. So I'm going to make this new skill where it's called break loop. And I'm going to put all the types of conditions that I want to cancel a loop. So in this case, we will have if forward is tap. We'll put moving forward. Condition fork. If back is tap. Nope. Go backward. That condition. Down is tap. We'll go crouching. Now we'll go save. And I misclicked. Alright. We'll go to good old Stickman. And I clearly did something wrong. Hold up. I probably didn't call the skill, did I? Nope, I did not. There we go. So now that I've properly called the skill, I should be able to break that loop. Oh, that's weak. Ah, that's interesting. It's not breaking the loop. Oh, I know why. I know why. Ah, that's funny. So, I am absolutely wrong. Do not use a call skill to break a loop because that will not break a loop. What happens is, because now that I'm remembering, a call skill will call a skill outside of a current skill and use it within a skill. So what's actually happening is, it's calling these detect inputs, but this skill is still playing. That's why he was sliding around doing his punch, because it did successfully call the move forward, move backwards, and crouching skill. But because it was a call skill, it was kind of running a sub-program per se. So we can think of this strong attack 3 as the main program, and the call skill calling a sub-program. We do not want that, so let's not do that. So very good demonstration of what not to do. Sometimes you only figure it out through exploration. So if we want to break the loop, we can also use a command input. It's not recommended, but you can do it. So we've talked about command inputs before. Let's say we want to press down, which, why would you use this? You could always use detect. What was it? Detect condition. But again, I'm here to teach you about all possibilities. So if we press down, we'll go for crouching. And we will do input time of 10. Changing. There we go. So, and it works just fine. Now, the problem with this is it will only work if the command input happens on the frame it's added on. So in this case, I put it at the beginning. So I have 8 frames to actually do this command input. So if I made this more complicated, like down, back, which I don't know why in Earth anyone would try to do that for a cancel, it's not going to work. Because it has to be done in that start frame, which I'm trying to do it actually. I am mashing it right now, it's not working. So for a simple input like down, yes, it's going to work. But you're asking someone to do a frame perfect input to cancel something, which if that's what you're going for in your game, like literally after 8 frames they have to cancel it on that frame, fine. That's perfectly fine. But if that's not what you're after, then go for the more basic loop breaks, a variable or a detect condition. Now, next thing we want to look at, and this is more of just housekeeping. When you do a loop, and your loop doesn't have, like, after an attack connects, you want to make sure that wherever you're redirecting, that your attack frames and your defense frames also are following suit. So earlier this morning, I had an issue where when he went from this punch to the flying sidekick, there was no reestablishment of the tech frames, so he ended up having some wonky attack boxes. Now, what do I mean by that? So if I go over here to this strong attack 3 and I delete this attack frame, as you can see, it's still there. And it will forever be there because it's not being canceled. So if I make this a wait time of 0, which will make it infinite, that will never disappear. That in itself is a loop, but we don't want that. So the easiest way to make sure during your recovery frames, when you're sure that the attack is over, is add an empty attack frame. That's all you got to do. All right. So now I can segue to my next point. One thing that you can do to Boneless send you should stream more. This is all super helpful stuff. Yeah, I'm going to try to stream more, but it's hard to find out when I'm actually available. I said earlier this morning that I was a college student and I finished, so I do have more time, but you know, not everybody can tune into these, and some people are like, I'll just watch it on YouTube, but I try my best. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, so yes, absolutely. But even then, you're asking for perfection. So another, as I said, putting something at 0, a weight image of 0, is also a infinite. So if I take this out, this weight image of 0 now becomes infinite, and he will forever stay like this. There's no real way to cancel it. And yet, I think there is. Let's test the waters. I'm going to do if down is tap. Alright, so if he uses that strong attack, alright, he is stuck. And nope, he is stuck. So yeah, be careful of your weight images, because if you have 0, it will prevent them from moving forever. Think. Yeah, even putting the cancel skill afterwards does not fix it. So always keep that in mind. That is also a loop in itself. Alright, now let's look real quick. Are there any other ways to, because the input has to be done before the frame happens? Well, I tried it before and I tried it after, and the result didn't work no matter what. So what that leads me to believe is when it's 0, even if it's before or after, the frame actually never happens. It's just there. I can't explain it. It's just an anomaly that is Spider Maker 2002, but hey, it is what it is. So, let us continue. Let's see what else we have for looping. Movement, go skill, for loop. Ah, there's actually a skill called a loop. I don't think I've ever used that one. Oh, wait. Yes, I have. Yes, I have. Okay. So this is the classic loop function, and I just deleted it. Good job, me. There we go. So what this does is it will call something, so in this case this punch, and we will have it loop 3 times like I said. Now, we can take this condition fork, and we want it to end with the flying sidekick, the other one. So we'll do that. Now, as you can see, this code line is two code blocks. So again, I started out with the most rudimentary, and now this is probably the most refined loop that we can get in 2D Fighter Maker. It's also conveniently built in. So he should do 3 punches and his flying sidekick. 3, and there he goes. And effectively the same exact thing. We are also going to rename this strong attack 4. Now, because the strong attack is effectively the weak attack, we can do this. Loop weak stand. And now, we're going to delete this. Okay, yes. Delete this. Yes. Delete all these things out. Copy these over. Delete this skill. Make sure that's good. And combo. 3 punches. And now, as you can see, I deleted all 3 strong attacks. All the extra ones, at least. And I am claiming, and believe me when I make this claim, that he will still do the same exact thing. 3 weak punches and his flying sidekick. All in those 2 blocks of code. There you go. Same exact thing. Punch, 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 and kick. So, in a matter of, according to my stream, 34 minutes, I have shown you all the possible loops you could do. And you can get fancier with this, but I wouldn't. You can use variables. You can use the go-to skill. You can use the call skill. The call skill, the call ahead loop is nice because, like I said, you can just call something that's pre-existing and have it loop. But you're limited to whatever you're picking. So keep that in mind. But it works just the same as a call skill, except it works here.